Today I brought to you guys GoDaddy. Their slogan is "It's go time." But what's interesting was that it's go time, but there has been argues of people suing GoDaddy, saying that that slogan, it's like not available, it's actually mine, and blah blah blah. So actually they changed their slogan to "Make your own way," which fits better. The one before kind of sounds like it's a scammy type of deal, but it's not. So let's get started. Company profile. The mission statement states that our mission is to empower entrepreneurs everywhere, making opportunities more inclusive for all. And their vision statement is, our vision is to radically shift the global economy towards independent entrepreneur ventures. So that being said, it does mean that the vision statement and the mission statement, the key word is entrepreneurs, making them actually focus on people to create more entrepreneur businesses instead of probably working for a company. And saying that if you want to, start a company or, become an entrepreneur, will definitely help you guide the way of being an entrepreneur. But for Jinri, I was like, GoDaddy. It's like something or a company that I've always heard of. But for someone who doesn't watch Super Bowl, I just knew it as a place where you can purchase sites, maybe URLs. I'm not sure. So let's get started with who was the founder. Bob Parson. So Bob Parson obtained accounting degrees in University of Baltimore, and he actually started a business initially called Parsons Technology in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And so the point of his original business was to sell money counts, which was a home accounting program. So more towards that accounting degrees, like program, you see the resemblance. Later, the business actually grew really big to a 1K employee in privately held company, and he ended up selling it to Intuit for $64 million. Now, in 1997, it was kind of during his retirement, he actually wanted to start another business called Jomax Technologies. So the initial idea for this, which ended up being GoDaddy, was that he wanted to enable people to make their own piece of digital real estate. So kind of going back to accounting and trying to make people create their own type of stuff. Website, it can be website or any other digitally related ideas. And he actually wanted to help people make that happen. So he ended up changing the idea from the real estate to the domains. But like I said, this was in 1997. The name Jomax actually was named after an old dirt road that he used to drive by, so it's interesting. Now, officially in 1998, they did launch their first website building software and hosting. It was roughly like this, but I couldn't get the 1998 version. And in 1999, the name changed to GoDaddy. As you guys know, and from the website, it looks like this. Initially, they wanted to have it called Big Daddy, but the domain was actually purchased. And the interesting thing is that Big Daddy was also a name of a movie, apparently. So they wanted to go to something else. He wanted a name that can be stuck with him for a long time and made people smile and remember. And I think he did do a very good job of achieving that goal, because whenever I hear about GoDaddy, it does get stuck in my head. The logo meaning doesn't really have a meaning. I looked into it, but it's just kind of like a hot dog, haired daddy kind of looking mascot that kind of gives you the reassurance sensing of chill. We'll help you with stuff. I'll be the dad to try to help you. And some people viewed it as like a cartoon style men with messy hair wearing sunglasses. The actually official name of GoDaddy changed in 2006, but they went with the name back in 1999. Now in 2001, network solution was actually the only place. So they were a monopoly of registering domains back because they actually started in 1979. But once 2000-ish was the time of the dot-com bubble bursting situation happening. So once 2001 came in, all these domain register companies came out. So GoDaddy ended up being similar size as their competitor Dotster and Enum, which all three of them are still out there. Like, you can still go register domains using the sites, and they're still in business, which I found that interesting. In 2005 is probably what's most interesting and how most people have heard of GoDaddy. I brought you guys the ad, but in 2005 it was their first official Super Bowl ad launched, and you know how much they paid for? A lot of money to have their ads on Super Bowl. And this was their ad during 2005.
Ms. Capelli?
Yes, I'd like to be on a commercial.
And what will you be advertising?
GoDaddy.com. Oh my gosh. It's a website where you can register .com names for only $7.95 a year.
And what exactly will you be doing on this commercial?
I could do a routine where I went like this.
Oh.
Surely by now you must realize that you're upsetting the committee.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to upset the committee.
May I suggest a turtleneck?
So that was in 2005, guys. So what was really interesting was that some people were being very analytical about this ad, saying that, the committee is, the people over there, the committee is supposed to be, it's kind of like a parody, as you guys read it in the news article, saying that it's a parody of how skittish network executives have become in the face of a government crackdown on bawdy programming. So for me, I felt like that was when they were having troubles trying to get some type of enforcement in for their domains, and it wasn't working out, so they wanted to create kind of like a joke, like a meme, but for a lot of people it didn't feel comfortable. They were saying that why am I have to watch girls of 19 plus stuff. And so, for fun, I brought other interesting ads from them, and I was actually surprised seeing some ads, but to a certain point they were 19 plus, like this one.
There are two sides to GoDaddy. There's the sexy side represented by Bar Raffaelli, and the smart side that creates a killer website for your small business represented by Walter. Together, they're perfect. Get your domain and website at GoDaddy.com.
So, that was GoDaddy, and this was during Super Bowl, guys. So people complained so much. Everyone was like, I hate your ad, give us something else. So, they went a different route of making a different type of interesting, funny way. Was this ad in 2015.
It's Buddy! I'm so glad you made it home. Because I just sold you on this website I built with GoDaddy. Ship 'em out!
Get your domain and website all in one place at GoDaddy.com.
Yeah, so that was Super Bowl of GoDaddy commercial. This video specifically, they did have it on YouTube. People saw it. Animal lovers saw it. They were like, you're never gonna have this on Super Bowl. They didn't like this type of humor being on live through Super Bowl. So this couldn't make it. People actually said, no, you can't show this. So there has been controversy over GoDaddy. But that's actually how GoDaddy did get their names up for having the most outrageous commercials out there. So people remember them as the disgusting ones. But these days, they did tone down their ads a lot during Super Bowl. So if you guys ever do see GoDaddy, kind of see the difference of how tamed it became compared to the before one. That being said, let's move on to 2008. But that's how GoDaddy's name was became super famous was using ads through commercial, but it wasn't just ads because they had to get it stuck in people's head. So they used the most annoying way for people to remember GoDaddy. And obviously, even if it was like a bad way, being like, oh my god, that GoDaddy had the most like craziest ads of like showing girls boobies or like at a court, or like that's how they're going to promote their names, people still remembered them. Moving on, in 2008, they actually ended up partnering with Microsoft to launch their hosted Exchange program. So Exchange is a mail server and calendaring server developed by Microsoft, running on a Windows operating system. And so their benefit of them being partnered, or I guess using Microsoft's program, is they can have the access to the calendar, address books, task emails, basically what you get through recent Office 365 from Microsoft, which was a huge improvement, especially because they wanted to not only stay on the domains, but transition into actually creating a website and making the website pretty, because some websites only let you purchase it and not be able to make the website pretty into adding things like the decorative part where Wix kind of comes in. So GoDaddy wanted to do everything possible related to that field. Now in 2011, these three major investment companies, KKR, Silver Lake, and TCV, this is a side note, but this is actually their logo or like their name. I personally thought that it was a text written logo, but you know, it's still like a legit one, although it's just like colors and it's very simple. Obviously it makes sense because it's just an investment company. They ended up buying GoDaddy, but what's interesting is that GoDaddy named it saying they just got a major investment from them, but the reality is that GoDaddy was bought for $2.25 billion, where Bob ended up stepping down from the CEO position and became the board director. So this was a huge transition, and I think this was like at the point of where they didn't want to stay towards that sexual commercial in the Super Bowl and wanted to move on to something that was kind of hilarious but still like memorable. So that's where the doggy ads came in, but that still didn't go well. So recently it changed a lot, so definitely look out for GoDaddy's commercials. Now in 2012, what happened was that they actually did a global expansion. This was their first global expansion, and their first target was India. They hired Rajiv Sodhi, who's from India and has an MBA and a Bachelor of Engineering, specializing in computer science. It's this friend right here. He looks very, trustworthy. He worked at Microsoft India back in 2001. He's been in different positions of Director of SMB and Cloud Businesses, both related to Microsoft. So he worked in Microsoft for a long time. His expertise is to work with small to mid-sized businesses and to helping them develop or enhance their online presence. So he was the perfect fit to launch GoDaddy in India. And within an year, what happened was that it was a huge success. Growth spiked 86% as GoDaddy hits 1 year mark in India. Basically, they were handling more than 250,000 local inbound customer calls and made it really helpful for customers to establish their online presence. So it was a huge success. Their first local, market outside of the US was a big success, which was a good thing. Now in 2013, what was interesting was that Microsoft, obviously their partnership continued, where it wasn't just the one before. They actually continued it for Microsoft 365, which everyone should be used to hearing the Office 365, which included the plans of the emails, businesses essentials, you get storages, you get productivity plus, SkyDrive, Androids, Windows Phone, the latest version of Microsoft Office desktop apps, and everything more and more. So what Microsoft got in return was that they allowed people to, use Microsoft 360 for those who actually purchased GoDaddy domains. So it was like a good win for both sides, because for new businesses, they need a way to use emails and calendars and everything, and that's where Microsoft came in and saying, use my plan, it's gonna be perfect. So it turned out really great for both sides. 2 years later, what happened was that GoDaddy became public on NYSE with their ticker GDDY. So they did their IPO. Their initial price was at 20 per share, and the current price is really high, so that's really good for them. 2018, they actually went to AWS because a lot of the customer feedback was that GoDaddy website is pretty slow. Now they partnered with AWS, and one of the quotes that they said was, as a technology provider with more than 17 million customers, it was very important for GoDaddy to select a cloud provider with deep experience in delivering a highly reliable global infrastructure, as well as an unmatched track record of technology innovation. The same year, what happened was that Bob, the founder, ends up resigning from the company board of directors. He ended up working at a different company later on, but he says, bye. Goodbye. And I will tell you one thing interesting in 2018 coming up, so keep that date in mind. So after that, 2 years later, GoDaddy created their new logo of this, which is supposed to be a mix of a G and a O, standing for go, but now it's like in a heart shape. Kind of looks like an Airbnb logo, if you guys kind of remember how that looks like, but upside down version. And there's been a lot of debates between the new logo, saying, like the old logo, it does kind of remind you of how GoDaddy looks like. The newer one, it kind of looks like the rest of the new logos that people have been coming out with, especially like Airbnb. It's very simple. Even this text of GoDaddy is super simple. So people have been kind of, wishy-washy. Was it a good change? Maybe for them. But 2020 was actually their time of rebranding, because not only did they rebrand their logo, but also their website. So it's more trendy is the word I want to choose. Before, it was kind of like, hey, just buy it here. We're just like the chill old daddies, selling all these, like, kind of like a garage shop, but now it looks like an officially, like, built in nicely in a department store, like that area shop where people can buy it. We're going to look very fancy. We do a bunch of stuff. Maybe it was a good change or a good transition by rebranding, because a lot of their competitors are looking very professional compared to GoDaddy. Now in 2021, like I said, was interesting time of the year because not much happened, but you can kind of tell, like I said, in 2018, that's when we started getting the AWS. So that kind of meant that maybe the servers were running much faster, and Bob resigned. So maybe good news. So the stock price actually went up to hit almost their highest, because I think their highest was around like 80 some dollars, like mid 80s. And in early 2020 was the COVID, so it does drop them a bit, but they are coming back to their normal price. So I think it's been settling to around 80s. What's happening in 2021? Couldn't find much, so I brought in their first quarter 2021 earning results. Some of their business highlights that they wanted to point out was that their total cash equivalent was $1,293.1 million. Their total debt was $3,945.5 million. So their net debt was $2,000 roughly. They're not earning as much money as they probably want to because of their debt, but it's not always a bad thing to be in it. But I'm guessing trying to run it on an AWS server probably caused that much debt, but we'll see. Also, they're planning to launch the Facebook boosted post, empowering GoDaddy customers to create and manage simple advertisement campaigns on Facebook. So as you guys know, they're not just working on the domains or creating the site pretty, but more towards the marketing side. And a lot of social media channels, like how to make their social media channels really pop up and go popular. And that's their main kind of issue. That's all for the 2021, the historical side of GoDaddy.